Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Fabian for Liberty, fabianforliberty.com. In the past, I've talked about this Amazon VIP club that a lot of people use. Anyways, it gives you all kinds of free products from product launches that are done. If you're interested, for example, we launch a lot of our supplements and vitamins through Amazon Deals Club, and you get to buy stuff for $1. If you're interested in that, the link's down below to register. We're going to have, I think, 2 or 3 new products that'll be coming out over the next month that you'll be able to try for free. So pretty cool. Okay, in this video, I want to talk about Vladimir Putin, a video that kind of piggybacks off the commentary that I did with the recent truce in Ukraine. Although Vladimir Putin, a lot of people are always saying it's pronounced Putin, so whatever. You know who I'm talking about. Claiming that the U.S. is already arming Ukraine, which I absolutely believe. I mean, we've had people like Joe Biden and many others in the White House openly advocate and talk about arming the Ukrainian party. And of course, that has a lot to do with the IMF and all the loans that I've spoken about a lot here. But I want to get into more about the commentary I did last week, where back in 2011, we had Putin in front of a conference of young college students in Moscow. And he was talking about how the U.S. economy was a parasite, was the parasite of the global economy. He went on to talk about how we needed, or countries needed to, specifically Russia and other countries, kind of cobble together an alliance that would end the dollar payment system because it ultimately hurt the global economy. Now, I have no doubt, I mean, you know, Obama is clearly playing checkers, Putin's playing chess. He's, in my opinion, and again, not that I like Putin, I don't have, you know, I'm American, I want what's best for America, I don't want to be fighting with a bunch of other countries, I just want to live in liberty and freedom here and follow the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So, but at the same time, when I see the insanity of the West, backed by Wall Street gangster bankers, that are pushing the military-industrial complex into these foreign wars, I have to call it out. I have to call it as I see it. And so right now we have a system that basically governs the global financial system, which really affects a lot of other countries. I've talked about before how China's inflation's up 200% over the last 10 years, and a lot of countries have to deal with the real cost, with the reality of inflation, because the dollar, and here in America, people get to buy stuff at Walmart for really cheap because the dollar is the world reserve currency. There's all of this demand created for the dollar. And, you know, you go to Europe and clothes are more expensive, gas is more expensive, everything's pretty much more expensive. And I think a lot of countries are catching on to this. Now, this video from the London Telegraph, or this article from the London Telegraph was titled, "How Vladimir Putin is Building Alliances Around the World." And it talks about North Korea, it talks about Syria, it talks about Venezuela, which is an OPEC nation, a lot of oil there, Hungary, which is, you know, in the EU, Greece, also in part of the EU, also talks about France and how the first Czech Russian bank gave a $9 million euro loan to the far right, what they say is the far right, the Nationalist Front Party run by Marine Le Pen, and also they categorize Europe's far right as well, that Putin making alliances with them, including Nigel Farage, which they just throw him out there, because now basically it's become full-blown character assassination and smears, where if you're anyway allied with Putin, you are basically evil. Forget about the fact that the West has openly financed a coup in Ukraine. Putin's, in my opinion, defending the national interest of Russia, but it doesn't matter. He's bad, the West is good, and that's how it works. And that's unfortunate, because that type of philosophy typically leads, or that type of thinking usually leads to world wars. In fact, World War I is a perfect example of when you have complete incompetence running the world stage, what it ultimately means for the planet, what it means for, you know, sovereign countries, which is ultimately not a good thing. So this coalition, I believe, that Putin's in China wasn't mentioned in the article, which I think was one of the bad things about the article, because clearly Russia and China have been getting very, very cozy. All of this, I believe, is, you know, Putin doesn't want, I believe, to get into a war with the United States or the West. He will if he's forced to. I think where he knows that he has a chance of actually winning is economically. And you've got all these, I watch these Sunday morning political shows just to kind of monitor how insane the mainstream media is, and more importantly, what the propaganda that they're feeding the general public is. And all of them will talk about how weak Russia is, how their economy's, being completely leveled. And of course, they're not going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, well the Russian central banks, the #1 central bank buying the most amount of gold, because people sitting at home are going to be like, well, who gives a crap? I mean, they don't even, it'll go right over their head. They don't get it, right? Also, you look at the capital reserves of the Federal Reserve, it's like 1%, it might be less than 1%, whereas the Russian central bank, the reserves are, I believe, double digits. If not, it's like 20, 30% reserve. So really, what economy is better? What economy is stronger? I don't, at this point, it's really hard to judge, because there's always talk that the Russian economy, there's no transparency, it's run by oligarchs. But what's the United States economy? Isn't that a house of cards? Isn't it a total scam and fraud? Isn't it also run by oligarchs? Do you see what I'm saying? So I get being objective wins you enemies, and nowadays it doesn't, people are like, wow, look at that guy. He's given an independent, analysis of what's going on. No, it's like, you better pick your side, and regardless if that side is wrong, you better, go to bat for that side. And I just don't operate that way. Again, is Putin somebody who, do I think he's a good guy? I don't know him. But I do know, I think he's standing up for Russian nationalism. I think you're going to start to see more of that in Europe, and you're already seeing more of that in Europe. And that is something that brings people together, right? It's something that brings people together because everyone is beginning to recognize this interconnected world, both financially, economically, militarily with these alliances. We have thousands of years, but not even go thousands of years. Let's just go the last 100 years or the last 50 years. Doesn't have a good track record. Okay, the facts are in. So that's my thoughts on that. I thought this article was really interesting. I think it's very possible Putin's already laying the groundwork to shock the world with an alternative to the US dollar. That is very, very possible. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a plan already in the works to roll this out. And when it does get rolled out, it's not going to be like, hey, 6 months from now, no, it's going to come on a Monday, and by Friday, everything economically will be completely different. We'll still have financial markets here, there'll still be profitable businesses here, there'll still be jobs here, but overall, it will be a major, major financial shock. Now, do I think this is happening tomorrow or next week or this year? Likely not. It's a big endeavor to topple the world reserve currency. Is it being planned right now? Without a doubt, I believe it 100%. I'm Fabian for Liberty, Fabian Calvo. Remember, you can opt in at fabianforliberty.com or fabiancalvo.me. Put in your name and email. You'll be one of the first to receive a lot of different commentary, podcasts, videos, offers on products. And also, March 13th, I'm going to be in New York City as well. Tickets are on sale at fabiancalvo.me, and the link is down below. Thanks for watching. I'm out.